The Marlins have landed smack dab in the middle of the heartland. Busch Stadium, some call it baseball heaven, where red-clad fans make their pilgrimage to see their beloved birds. It's a weekend in St. Louis. It's the Marlins and the Cardinals. And the weekend in St. Louis opens on a Friday night. The Cardinals' best record in baseball, 73-41. The Marlins, all of a sudden, finding their stride right now. Steve Cishek reacquainting himself with some of his Marlin buddies. Tom Kohler getting ready. Jaime Garcia gets the ball as D. Gordon and the Fish are here for three. Some Marlin fans in this sea of red. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hunt. Welcome to St. Louis. They call it baseball heaven, and certainly it is right now because their Cardinals have the best record in baseball, and it's been an impressive year, obviously.
Yeah, it sure has. They have the best record. They have the best home record, and it is a little bit like baseball heaven because you feel so good when you come to a ball game here. Everybody's excited about their Cardinals, and why not with a 73-41 record?
Yeah, they still have a bunch of talent on the disabled list as well. The Marlins' focus coming in here, they got some momentum. Fish feeling good, playing well, and one guy who's really enjoying a nice year, his first full season in the big leagues, JT Realmuto.
We have had an absolute blast watching JT Realmuto just grow as a major league player. What a game he had against the Red Sox on Wednesday. He got himself a triple. He leads all major league catchers with 6 triples. He had a base hit and an RBI. And by the way, coming up in the same inning, he would then hit a grand slam. So JT Realmuto had 5 RBIs in 1 inning. What an afternoon. A 3-for-5 game, 6 RBIs against the Boston Red Sox. His catching has improved. He's solid as a hitter. He has 16 doubles on the air. JT Realmuto is the real thing.
We told you that the Cardinals have some guys on the disabled list. They always seem to overcome that, though, in their recent history. One guy who is healthy that hasn't been over the last 3 or 4 years is Jaime Garcia. He's been lights out this year.
Well, let's see. Tommy John surgery. He's had shoulder surgery. Jaime Garcia spent time on the DL with a growing injury, but the Marlins saw him in Miami, and he was terrific. 5 hits and a run in his 7 innings. He tweaked the growing a little bit in that ball game. Had to go on the DL again, but he's back and doing what he always does, changing speeds and getting National League hitters out.
Garcia came off the disabled list in late July. Since then, a couple starts, a couple real nice ones. Tom Kohler has been able to pitch better on the road. His last 3 starts on the road, his last 5 starts on the road, a nice ERA of 2.03.
Yeah, he got it started. I think he had that really good game in Denver against the Rockies. But look at that, an ERA 2.03, last 5 starts on the road. Tom Kohler looking for his first win, though, over his last 3 starts.
We are in St. Louis, a weekend against the Cardinals. Craig Minervini and Carl Pavano are on the fields. When we get back, big day for a kid from Oklahoma. JT Realmuto back in the Midwest. Marlins and Cardinals are coming up. Fields, one of the great additions here to this downtown ballpark. Busch 3, Jaime Garcia on the field. So is Craig Minervini and Carl Pavano. Gentlemen.
Absolutely, Rich. Another nice addition here in St. Louis is Carl Pavano, who probably would have enjoyed throwing, I'm thinking, to JT Realmuto, although he's a rookie catcher, but he seems like he's had a commanding presence, both offensively and defensively.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, you see in his interviews the intensity in his eyes. He takes things seriously, and that's why he's a catcher. A lot of catchers, you have to have that mentality, but you also have to learn to relate to personalities. You know, all of us pitchers have different personalities, just like I have to put up with your quirky personality when we work together. But, you know, I wasn't a catcher. I'm just a smart guy. But, you know, JT is going to have to deal with all those things, and he's done it well, and it's just he's still getting to know himself, you know, what he needs to improve on, what he, you know, you always want to continue to get better, make your weaknesses better and your strengths better, and I think he's figuring those things out.
Well, take a look at this piece. This will give you a little more insight on who JT Realmuto is, direct from Preston Wilson's outstanding show, The Marlins Clubhouse.
Hi everybody, I'm JT Realmuto, and this is my baseball journey. I was born in Del City, Oklahoma. Grew up most of my life there, and then eventually moved to Midwest City, Oklahoma to go to junior high and high school. Yeah, growing up, I actually went through the biggest tornado ever recorded, May 3rd, 1999. Went right outside my house. We kind of got the outskirts of the tornado, blew the windows out, got to go in the cellar for a while and listen to the rumble, so it was a pretty cool experience, actually. I started playing t-ball when I was probably 4 or 5 years old. Dad was a baseball player, so he kind of got me into it. My sisters played softball. My older brother played baseball when he was younger, so it's kind of in the family a little bit. Started when I was young and just continued to play and love it. I went to high school at Carl Albert High School in Midwest City, Oklahoma. Mascot was the Titans, Mighty Titans. Played 4 years of high school baseball. Shortstop all the way from freshman to senior year. I pitched a little bit. Caught maybe a couple games, not too much. Won 2 in baseball and 2 in football. Played high school football there at Carl Albert. Played safety my sophomore year and then quarterback my freshman or junior and senior year. Quarterback's kind of the leader on the field. Similar to the catching position, you kind of got to call the shots behind the plate. So it was a nice little transition for me getting the experience at quarterback. Yeah, I don't like to talk about that too much. I had a good season, that's for sure. Joke, dude. Just high school baseball. Just high school. Best player in the world. Just high school. Played in the Cracker Jack box. Cowboy. A lot of family that went through Oklahoma State, so we kind of have a little tradition there, and then that's where I had signed to go play my baseball, so always been a Cowboy fan. Senior year was able to have a decent season. Wasn't really too interested in the draft. I mean, I pretty much had my mindset on college and then ended up having a good senior year and kind of put me on the map a little bit. And then the Marlins drafted me in the 3rd round back in 2010, so that's how I got here. I actually signed the last day possible, which was like August 15th or 16th, so the season was pretty much over, but I went to rookie ball for, I think I played 6 games or something there, and then basically my first season was only 6 games long, so it was pretty short. First full season, I went to Greensboro, North Carolina. Got to play there for the Grasshoppers. Ended up winning a championship that year, so that was a lot of fun. And then my second season, I was in Jupiter in High A. Made it to the championship series that year, lost that one in Game 5, so that was a tough season. But then next year, moved on to Jacksonville. Didn't have too great of a season there as a team. We missed the playoffs by 1 game, but it was a lot of fun. And then my next season, I started off in Jacksonville again. Got a little time in the big leagues, got the call up in June, my first call up. Then went back to Jacksonville to finish the season, and we ended up winning another championship there, so it was a good season, and then got called up in September. It was a pretty awesome experience. First game was here in Miami, and then first time I actually played was in Tampa. Got to have my family there for that, so that was a lot of fun, and it was just a really cool experience, a dream come true. Best thing about playing for the Marlins, let's see, getting to live in Miami is pretty fun. This beautiful stadium is awesome. The fans are great. Not too much you can complain about here. Thanks for listening to my baseball journey. Back to you.
All right, incredible journey there for JT Realmuto, who joined his teammates last night. A little bonding. The coaching staff went out for dinner. And the players also went to a different steak restaurant. How nice bonding.
That was nice to hear about JT. About
Absolutely.
hey, there's something to say about experiences of winning and being part of winning teams, and this is part of it right here. It's called camaraderie and chemistry. It's overplayed sometimes. Chemistry doesn't necessarily lead to winning, but it's a long, long season where guys have to, they're going to have their squabbles, but you're going to have to go through adversity and play as a team. Even though it's a very team-oriented sport, but there are some, personal things that can happen that make it special for some guys and not others. So I think it's fun stuff that they do.
We
that.
thank AJ Ramos for tweeting out that picture, allowing us to share it with you. We got baseball coming up here in what they call baseball heaven. It's the first of a 3-game series. The Fish and the Cardinals next from St. Louis, Missouri. Game 1.
Toyota, let's go places. By Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. Visit us at Publix.com. And by AutoNation, save on over 70,000 vehicles now. Visit us online at AutoNation.com. They expect a large crowd here on a Friday night in St. Louis. As usual, a sea of red. Miami's lineup. The Fish have won 3 in a row. It's brought to you by JM Lexus. D. Gordon leads it off. Martin Prado behind him. Derek Dietrich in left. Casey McGee hits cleanup. Cole Gillespie in center field. JT Realmuto will do the catching. Ichiro, 1 hit away from tying Ty Cobb for combined hits. Danny Echeverria in the 8th spot, and Tom Kohler hits 9th. Jaime Garcia on the mound. D. Gordon in the box. Pinch Penny brings you that first pitch, which darts outside. And it's 1-0 to Miami's second baseman, with Martin Prado and Derek Dietrich also due up. Gordon, a grounder. Mark Reynolds to his right. At the bag, gets the out.
Hey, there's a good look at the 29-year-old left-hander. Hard to believe he is 29 with all the injuries, all the time spent on the disabled list. Actually started this year a little later, had shoulder surgery last year. So Garcia making just his 11th start of the year. One of those, a good one in Miami.
Except that last swing he took in the top of the 8th inning, which tweaked his groin, put him on the disabled list for a month. And here is Prado, and Prado misses up. For the Marlins, certainly their record not where they want it to be at 46-68. Some
momentum, though. A 14-6 win over Boston that finished off a mini 2-game sweep over the Red Sox, and a Sunday win in Atlanta. And the fastball misses away. In an odd week as far as baseball goes, an off day on Monday and an off day yesterday surrounding that mini 2-gamer against the Red Sox.
Well, it will be needed, those off days, because tonight starts a 20-game stretch, 20 consecutive games for the Marlins.
See, I did not look that far ahead. You and I are both day to day, so
we're day to day, and the team will play 20 in a row.
One day at a time. 2-1 to Prado. And Martin pulls it foul. Prado had a couple of hits on Wednesday. The Marlins really busted out on Wednesday. 17 hits, 14 runs, knocking Eduardo Rodriguez and the Red Sox bullpen around. Of course, JT Realmuto had that big game. You just heard from him, driving in 6. Prado fouls it back.
Part of it, Rich, if you think about it, going back to that last game in Atlanta, the 4-1 win against the Braves, the Marlins have had double figures in hits all 3 of those games. So all of a sudden, the offense has started to come together a little bit.
End of the bat, and it stays foul.
Marlins have done well against left-handers. See that number there, leading the way. Hard to believe, though, when I look at Martin Prado and I looked at the matchups, a hitter that's been as solid as he has over his career against a left-hander that's not overpowering but has good stuff. Martin Prado just 1 for 15 against Jaime Garcia.
Prado in the air to center. Randall Grichuk finds himself out there. It's usually John Jay territory, but he's on the DL right now as well. BMW brings you St. Louis's defense.
Yeah, it's a little unfamiliar, but they've been solid. Piscotty's played around. He's played first. Now he's in left. Stephen Piscotty. Randall Grichuk, outstanding in center field. Jason Hayward, you know him. He's in right. Matt Carpenter, absolutely solid at third. Mark Reynolds over the other side of the field at first. Peralta and Wong have been steady up the middle, anchored by Yadier Molina.
Mike Matheny, who's done a nice job taking the baton from Tony La Russa, his 4th year. And a 1-0 count to Derek Dietrich. This is a lineup that is still without Christian Yelich, that bruised knee. Marlins are hopeful that he'll be back this weekend in St. Louis.
All right, the scouting report for Jaime Garcia. Sinking action to his fastball. We've seen the big sweeping curveball. His changeup very good, very effective to right-handers because it tails away.
Inside corner. Home plate umpire is Will Little. Tony Randazzo at first, Phil Cuzzi at second, Jerry Davis is at third. Dietrich has had a nice season. He's on base at 367. He is slugging close to 500, 484.
Two guys, and you and I have talked about them, who've taken advantage of an opportunity. Derek Dietrich and Cole Gillespie.
Yeah, Gillespie sitting on a 5-game hit streak. Is 5th in the order in Dan Jennings' lineup tonight. 2-2. Breaking ball flipped foul.
And I don't include JT Realmuto on that list because after Saltalamacchia was designated, Realmuto was the catcher, and he has been, and he's been solid all year. But in a way, yeah, he's taken great advantage of his opportunity.
Dietrich swings and misses, and Garcia goes 1-2-3 through Miami in the first. Tom Kohler gets the ball next. For a couple of seasons, what a great addition it is to Busch Stadium here in downtown St. Louis. Here come the Cardinals. J.M. Lexus with the lineups. Matt Carpenter in the leadoff spot, and a potent and hot bat. Colton Wong plays second, hits second. Johnny Peralta, Jason Hayward, Yadier Molina, the catcher. Randall Grichuk in center. Steven Piscotty, the rookie out of Stanford. Mark Reynolds is at first base, and Jaime Garcia is slotted ninth. And Tom Kohler on the road here in St. Louis goes against the Cardinals.
Tom Kohler doing what you want a starting pitcher to do. He takes the ball every 5 days whenever it's handed to him. He takes to the mound. He's making his 22nd start this year. He had an ERA under 3 in June, also in July. He's hit a couple of little bumps here in August. First time ever pitching here in this ballpark.
Yeah, not a lot of history in regular season play. Certainly in spring training, Kohler sees a lot of the Cardinals. The Cardinals see a lot of him. And he misses outside to Matt Carpenter, Cardinal third baseman. Strike on the inside part, and certainly a guy that has shouldered a lot of the load with Matt Holliday, Matt Adams, John Jay, all out on the disabled list. Those are 3 regulars and dynamic offensive players, certainly with the Holliday, the power of Adams, and Jay can hit for average as well. Carpenter lifts it foul and out of play.
Carpenter, one of those hitters. He's 29. He's in his 4th year now. All of a sudden, you're starting to see a little more power. He's made some adjustments, and I think part of that because of the absence of those you talked about. And all of a sudden, you look at Matt Carpenter, 17 home runs this year.
And a very good 2-strike hitter. In fact, 57 of his 107 hits have come with 2 strikes.
Yeah, last year Carpenter had 8 home runs. The year before he had 11. So already it's 17 this year.
His 4th full season as a St. Louis Cardinal. Bangs that one in the gap. Gillespie there, and he makes the catch. Cole Gillespie, good first step, good angle, and a nice play.
You put all that together, and you usually get a pretty good play. Checking in on the Marlins defensively, BMW brings you that defense. Dietrich, Gillespie, and Ichiro in the outfield. Martin Prado, Echeverria on that left side. D. Gordon at second. Casey McGee at first. JT Real Muto behind the plate. That defense 55 errors. That's 4th in the National League. The Cardinals, as you would expect, they're 7th in the league. They've committed 63.
Colton Wong now, the Hawaiian second baseman. Pulls one, hits it hard and deep and foul. This is another guy, Tommy, that fits right into what you were talking about as the power is starting to come. Wong is starting to show that he's a guy that potentially will be a 20 home run guy each season. One and two. Wong played college ball over in Hawaii at the University of Hawaii. And a first-round pick back in 2011. He hits it well in the gap. Dietrich is there, and he makes the catch. Normally, when the Marlins roll in here, it's July, and it's not 85. It's close to 100.
Very comfortable. It's going to be that way this weekend. Humidity down. And you're right. A couple of years ago, we made that trip, St. Louis, Milwaukee, into record heat temperatures.
Marlins actually having the reverse of that trip. St. Louis first and then Milwaukee. Johnny Peralta now, Cardinals shortstop, leads the Cardinals in hits and is slotted in the 3 spot. Cardinals, as we noted, losing Matt Adams and Matt Holliday. And so those are 2 very, very prominent bats. But for St. Louis, it really hasn't seemed to matter that much. They have a 6-game lead in the Central. They are 73 and 41, and they are the best home team in all of baseball. The Cardinals boast a home record that is the envy of many. 42 and 17 are the Cardinals at home.
Well, you talk about having to step it up. They have the best home record. The Marlins have the worst road record, 18 and 38. So the 2 collide here in St. Louis. Good start so far from Tom Kohler. He's made some good pitches. And the other thing, you were talking about how he takes the ball. 10 of his last 11 starts, 6 or more innings. 16 of his 21 starts this year, 6 or more innings.
Well, count 3-2. Fox Tracks tells you that's a strike.
That's a pretty good pitch.
And the inning should be over. Kohler's 3-2. And it runs out. And Peralta walks. That last pitch wasn't a bad one either.
Either one of those on any given pitch can be called a strike. So now you have to kind of throw that aside. It's not easy. If you're Tom Kohler, you're hoping you'd be out of the inning. You're not, and you have to face Jason Hayward.
Jason Hayward, in his first year as a Cardinal, 5 years in Atlanta. Marlins, of course, just saw the Braves. Always odd not to see Hayward there and then to see him wearing Cardinal red.
I think it's more odd to see Brian McCann wearing the Yankee pinstripes.
Yes, clean cut with a shave. Against the Marlins, Hayward has done a lot of damage in his 81 games. And he has decent numbers against Kohler. He's 6 for 16. Lifts that one in the air. Echeverria behind Prado. Etch makes the catch. Tom Kohler. A nice first inning. Scoreless ball game so far. Cardinals. You can go behind the scenes on social media with Fox Sports Florida. Just go to @FoxMarlins on Instagram and Twitter. And you might get a Carl Pavano selfie. You just never know. Casey McGee, Cole Gillespie, JT Realmuto. Carl is in town helping keep Craig in line. Those two very entertaining on Marlins Live.
They are. He'll be traveling. Carl will, as well as Craig, to Milwaukee with us. We'll have to keep our eye on them.
McGee, Gillespie, Realmuto against Jaime Garcia, who looks sharp in the first.
For Casey, a little history, a little success against Garcia. 5 for 17 with a home run.
Casey still trying to find his stride here in 2015. With the Marlins, a 190 average, 6 doubles. And the Marlins facing a really quality lefty who has been out of the headlines for a while. And as Tommy described it, a laundry list of injuries, starting with labrum surgery back in 2012. That stretched into 13. Thoracic outlet syndrome, nerve issues last year. He made just 7 starts last year, 9 starts in 2013, 20 starts in 12. And this is just his 11th start. When he does start, look at his numbers. Look at the career.
Yeah, between 13 and 14, he only had 16 starts in 99 innings.
McGee. Carpenter cuts it off. Across the diamond to get him. Of course, the impressive thing is, even without Garcia for the last couple of seasons, the Cardinals rotation just keeps humming along. Wainwright goes down, up steps a Michael Wacha. It really has been.
And prior to that, it was a Chris Carpenter going down.
And up stepped a Wainwright.
Yeah.
I mean, it really has been impressive to watch.
Hey, Carlos Martinez has been electric this year. They have the veteran John Lackey.
Carlos Martinez, an all-star this year. Here's Cole Gillespie, who has hit in 5 straight. He's got 10 hits in those 5 games.
And it doesn't get easy for the Marlins because after Garcia, they will see Lackey tomorrow night and then Martinez on Sunday.
To short, Peralta gobbles up just about everything he gets to. And he throws out Gillespie, and there are 2 outs.
Peralta, one of those shortstops, may not have the flashy range that some do, certainly that Echeverria does, but if he gets to it, he usually makes the play.
Cold Hard Fact is brought to you by Coors Light. Big innings. Wednesday, 10-run outburst tied a club record. Pittsburgh's 7-run rally against the Cards, most allowed by St. Louis at home since the Marlins back in '98. That is a foul ball, barely. Carpenter was riding the line. It almost seemed like Carpenter had 1 foot in foul territory and 1 foot in fair territory when the ball came off the bat. Look how quickly he shuts the gate.
Yeah, that's amazing. He's almost playing a no doubles defense. Solid player. Cardinals are set there for a while. And remember, he was a second baseman.
Realmuto out in front of that off-speed pitch. He's behind in the count, 0-2. Saw a note the other day in a paper and talked to Dan Jennings about JT Realmuto possibly taking some ground balls at third base, some fly balls in the outfield, just to see how he looks and how he feels. Maybe down the road, a possibility of getting him a day out from behind the plate, but keeping his bat in the lineup. And a swing and a miss. Garcia strikes him out. Jaime Garcia looks locked in. He's retired all 6 he's faced on a gorgeous Friday night in St. Louis. Marlins are back home on the 20th on a Thursday night. The Phillies are waiting. Seniors 55 and older can get free tickets. Senior free ticket Thursdays presented by Wellmax Medical Centers. If you go to your local South Florida Subway restaurant, you get a coupon for a $5 ticket as well. Marlins.com, place to go for all the ticket information. Thursday, the much improved Phillies, one of the most improved teams in baseball, at least for a month. So much so that there's some talk about Pete Mackanin having that tag of interim removed from next to his name and becoming the permanent manager going into next year. Yadi Molina in the air and foul. Ichiro giving chase.
Well, Mackanin certainly with experience. He's managed in the big leagues. He's been an interim manager a number of times.
Yadi Molina leading all catchers in hits, 107 as a catcher. The heart and soul of the Cardinals.
How about this, Rich? 11 consecutive years, Yadier Molina has started at least 100 games.
Well, he's made 7 consecutive All-Star teams. He's won 7 consecutive Gold Gloves. Mike Matheny himself has won Gold Gloves, multiple Gold Gloves behind the plate. Matheny won 4 of them. And Molina shows very few signs of slowing down. He's 33 now. And I would venture to say that in 15 or 20 years, if you and I are lucky enough to still be coming to this ballpark, there might just be a Yadier Molina statue sitting outside.
Yeah, somewhere maybe between the Rogers Hornsby or Bob Gibson or Stan Musial statue.
I mean, think about it. If you take this era of Cardinal baseball and all the success that they've had, what one player embodies what the Cardinals have been?
Yadier Molina.
A guy that has handled the pitching staff as good as that staff has been, as you pointed out, the last 10, 11 years. Pokes one over that right side. Gordon flips to first. And that's out number 1. Kohler has it out. Randall Grichuk due up.
There have been some games where Tom Kohler early on has had some command issues. Not tonight. He's on the money. He's made some really good pitches.
Well, here is Grichuk, who certainly has just blossomed this year getting all kinds of playing time with the outfield injury to Matt Holliday, and he has taken advantage of it. Done a lot of damage. His slugging percentage is the one that jumps off the page. His slugging percentage is .552. The league average in the National League is only .398. And he does it with the extra base hits, obviously. 41 extra base hits. And that's more than his singles. He's got 38 singles and 41 for extra bases. Lines it into right field, a hit.
He's extremely strong, and you hear about Grichuk talking to his teammates, claiming that he's the strongest guy on the team until Matt Holliday gets in the conversation, and then they talk about the weight room.
Mike Matheny will tell you it's Grichuk. That's probably on a pound-for-pound basis, but still, that's high praise. Now, fans in South Florida may not have heard of Stephen Piscotty yet. If you go to spring training games up at Roger Dean Stadium, you've probably seen him. Well, he is kind of the next man up with all the injuries. He really has shined. Piscotty, a first-round pick out of Stanford, in 70 at-bats, has had some big hits in his 21 games. Only 24 out of the San Francisco Bay Area. Guy also did some pitching coming out and has always had the best outfield arm in the minor leagues.
Played a few games in the minor leagues at first base. Played last night for the Cardinals at first base.
Grichuk is running. Piscotty is hitting. And it's deep to right. Ichiro lines it up and makes the catch. Grichuk is going to go to second. Ichiro's throw is just over the glove of Echeverria. Randall Grichuk forcing the issue. I think Ichiro is wishing he had that one back. He made a strong throw, but it handcuffed Echeverria.
Just because he was moving back a little bit. That's what cost him, and that's probably what Grichuk picked up. An aggressive play. He's trying to get in scoring position. Does a good throw have him? Yeah. Throw just a little bit offline. You saw that D. Gordon tried to come and get it, but he still got the in-between hop. Echeverria. D. Gordon out a little more as a cutoff.
So Grichuk in scoring position.
You're right about Ichiro, though. He's thinking about that. He knows if he made a perfect throw, he has it.
Yeah, you could see it in his eyes afterwards. Mark Reynolds in the 8th spot.
Yeah.
It's a guy that takes great pride in his defense. 10 Gold Gloves. Has ever since he got to the big leagues been one of the great arms in the outfield. Strike to Reynolds, who's been a nice piece as well in reserve with the absence of Matt Adams.
You know, a veteran guy. He's been a third baseman. He can play first. You know you're going to get a lot of strikeouts, but when he runs into one, he hits it a long way.
He hit a batting practice home run the other day, reportedly, that was out onto the street and it bounced into the ballpark village.
surprising a lot of people out there, I'm sure.
Fox Sports Midwest studios out there. Bouncer to third. Prado backhands, flips across the diamond. McGee's off the bag, and everybody's safe.
It's one of the few times we've seen Martin Prado make a throwing error. He usually gets it. He doesn't have the strong arm, but it's always so accurate, except for there. For Prado, error number 7 on the year. You know, we saw the shot of Ichiro, how he felt after his throw, and the same can be said with Prado after that throw that just extends the inning. Now it brings the pitcher up, but it still just means more pitches for Tom Cole.
More pitches, and still the danger that Garcia runs into one. He drives it to left. That's Dietrich going back, and Dietrich makes a running catch. Everybody exhale. Cardinals leave a couple, scoreless still. Telecast is presented by the Authority. The Miami Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted. Any form, accounts, and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. Let's go down to Craig Minervini. Craig?
All right, Rich, 5th day with no action for Christian Yelich, though Dan Jennings did say he's available off the bench if necessary, but that knee continues to be a problem. It's still some swelling, little bruise. Left knee. What Christian told me today was he was trying to get his left foot up and sort of climb the wall there. Watch him when he goes out, but instead of getting the foot, he bangs the knee, and it took the brunt. You see that knee of the collision with the wall. It was a futile attempt, he'll agree, because he probably couldn't have brought it home anyway, but he gave it an effort and paid the price. Now, right now, just because of the swelling, he can't really run. He told me the lateral movement, the range of motion is affecting him now, and so no go. In fact, he's got the sweatshirt on. The Marlins are hoping it's only going to be a day or two, but if this progresses, then you would wonder if they get to 7, 8, 9 days, and he's still not back, if they would look toward a stint of the DL. But Dan Jennings feels like it's going to be a couple of days at the most, and that's it. We'll see, but so far it's been a little slow and frustrating for Christian Yelich, guys.
All right, thank you, Craig. Here is Ichiro now, facing Jaime Garcia. Ichiro, a little tapper back to the mound. Garcia has it, underhands it over to first. And maybe one of the differences between an American League and a National League situation. If you're an American League team, you might be able to get Yelich back before you would as a National League team, because you could throw him in as a DH for a night or two.
So are you vying for a DH change?
No, just pointing out the differences in the two leagues.
But it has been frustrating for Yelich.
Here's Adeiny Echeverria with Tom Kohler behind him. And Etch bounces one to Colton Wong. And this hasn't taken long for Jaime Garcia to get 2 outs. And so Tom Kohler, normally a hitter, when there's 2 quick outs, will take a few pitches to allow the pitcher to get his breath. Well, it just happens to be that it's Kohler, the pitcher, who's up, so he can himself take a pitch or 2. A high strike and 2-1.
Kohler thinking to himself, I got to get that pitch as well. Remember, he had a couple of close pitches called to Peralta that might have been better than that one. Remember, we mentioned last inning, we mentioned Brian McCann in the Yankee pinstripes. Hit a home run last night for the Yankees, his 20th. 9 years, not 9 straight, 9 out of 10 years. He's hit 20 or more home runs. Not many catchers have done that.
More impressive as a Brave because Turner Field is more of a fair ballpark and very deep in right center, whereas Yankee Stadium a very short right field fence. 1-2. Kohler strikes out. Jaime Garcia, he's retired all 9 that he's faced. Brought to you by Dodge. Submit the best vintage photo of yourself and use the hashtag #FlashbackMarlins. We'll select the best photo and feature it on the postgame show. Marlin fan with a Cardinal dad. Here's how the weekend sets up. John Lackey, Tommy pointed it out, has been really a nice addition in this rotation for the Cardinals. Brad Hand goes for Miami, trying to follow up his solid start. And David Phelps, a native of St. Louis, is back home. Carlos Martinez, the All-Star, is 12-4 with a 2.62 ERA. I think the crowd's just about settled in here. This is one of the great ballparks for crowd buzz. And There's that murmur of a baseball crowd that's unlike any other crowd in sports. You can hear fans discussing the game, talking amongst themselves, that buzz that reverberates in a ballpark like this.
I think if you notice too, yes, they do have some advertising between innings, but they don't have just loud noise stuff.
Matt Carpenter, top of the order, Colton Wong and Johnny Peralta.
Then again, that's the nature of the fan here in St. Louis.
Phil, I do yearn for the days where the Clydesdales used to run rampant all over the ballpark. The strike, Carpenter didn't like it. And it's 1-2.
Unless you were in the dugout and the Clydesdales ran by and left a little something behind.
Outside corner, and Carpenter now really doesn't like it. And has a few words for Will Little.
Well, all of a sudden, Tom Kohler gets a pitch. It may have been out of the zone, may not, though. Let's see.
Well, we can see the hole at bat. Pitch 4 was out, but look at pitch 3. Barely caught the zone.
Bottom line, he threw almost the last 2 perfect pitches to Carpenter, who's not real pleased with Will Little.
Colton Wong lined out back in the first. And he takes down low. National League East meets National League Central. Echeverria got a good jump, and he goes a long ways, and he makes a sliding catch. You're not going to see many shortstops get that far out on a ball like that. Remember, Derek Dietrich is just finding his way in left.
And I think Echeverria knows that, and that's why he goes out there. Great route, and then a little pop-up slide to put it away.
And with a left-handed bat, Tommy, Echeverria wasn't in the hole. He was out. Look where he starts.
He's a long way. We've seen a couple of Marlins infielder. I always remember the play up in Toronto that D. Gordon made. So covering a lot of ground, but I really think because Echeverria, he's such a smart player, he knows that Dietrich's in left field.
Two of the best in terms of fielding percentage in this series. Kohler misses in.
And as we mentioned before, Peralta, not the range that a Simmons and an Echeverria have.
Count 1-2 for Peralta. Pirates are 6 back. The Cubs just keep coming. They've won 7 straight. They're 7.5 back of the Cardinals. Gillespie and Ichiro, a 10-pitch inning for Tom Kohler. 1-2-3 go the Cardinals in the 3rd. We just see those two names on those two jerseys, and you hope for speedy recovery, especially Giancarlo Stanton, because the last time the Cardinals and the Marlins met, Stanton had two of his longest and most impressive home runs, and his last home run of the season. That was June 24th, and he's only 2 behind the leader.
Here's the incredible thing. Look at that. Bryce Harper leads with 29. Arenado and Frazier with 28. And Giancarlo with 27, and he's missed 6 weeks.
Second time through now for Miami. D. Gordon, Martin Prado, Derek Dietrich.
That's a tease, Rich. That's a tease showing us Big G going deep like that. Need to get him back soon.
Jaime Garcia has retired every man he's faced. All 9. All 3 of his strikeouts have ended an inning. D. Gordon into center field. That's a base hit. Miami has their first hit. Their leadoff runner aboard. Marlins.com, one-stop shop, breaking news, tickets, sweepstakes, merchandise, and more. Go to Marlins.com, become an insider today. So D. Gordon is aboard with a hit. Gordon with, 6-7 weeks left in this season. Still has a shot and a batting title. Paul Goldschmidt at 341. Open play as the leader. Gordon with that hit is now at 331.
I think the other interesting thing about D, remember, he spent 2 weeks on the disabled list. That hit number 140, he leads the league in that department.
Let's see how comfortable he is with Garcia's move to first. He was moving, and he's picked, and he's out.
Well, to answer your question, Rich, not real comfortable.
It's a one area of his game that has not been great this year, and that is his caught stealing percentage, and especially against lefties.
Yeah, D. Gordon with 35 steals, but he's been caught 15 times. And you're right, I think that is an area where as he gets more experience, he can improve on.
Garcia known for a good move, and Prado bangs one into left field for a hit. And that's the deflating thing about getting picked off as the first out of the inning. Prado singles, but there's one out, and here comes Dietrich. Garcia has a terrific move. He's picked off 9 now in his career, and the second victim that he has this season. You know, the other thing in just watching the video of Stanton, yeah, you miss the long home runs. You miss the balance in your lineup. For Miami right now, a lot of left-handed bats. And when they run into a guy like Garcia, that can be a real trouble spot. And Dietrich getting a start in the outfield. Ichiro getting a start out there. You'd love to have Marcell Ozuna back. His right-handed presence in the lineup. Obviously, Marlins are hopeful that Stanton is back soon.
Everything seems to be okay with Ozuna's wrist. He's back in the lineup for New Orleans. At last check, 34 games, hitting .302, 5 home runs, 12 doubles.
There you go in New Orleans. Market improvement, and he's helped him. Check swing. Dietrich went around.
And this is a tough left-hander against any left-handed hitter, especially a young lefty like Dietrich. Gets ahead, exploits, and makes that strike zone bigger, and got Dietrich to chase it.
Here now is McGee. He bounced to third. Prado still at first. Miami, their first 2 hits against Garcia, who steps off. Little tapper back to the mound, and Garcia throws out McGee. Miami leaves a runner. Still scoreless in St. Louis. Chevy dealers. Visit your South Florida Chevy dealers today. Buy 5-Hour Energy shots if you tried great tasting 5-Hour Energy lately. And by Pixels in theaters July 24th. By Checkers, Epic Meals, Epic Deals, and by the newly redesigned 2016 Mitsubishi Outlander. Scoreless, bottom 4. Marlins and Cardinals. Sun setting in the heartland. Jason Hayward bounces it to short. And Tom Kohler right now is on a real nice groove. Kohler, a couple ground ball outs, 7 fly ball outs, a strikeout. He's limited the Cardinals to just 1 hit. He's got Yadier Molina and Randall Grichuk coming up here in the bottom of the 4th.
Tom did not face the Cardinals when they were in Miami in that series, so his first look at them this year and their first look at him.
Molina bounced to second.
I'm sure there were some spring training games, though.
Kohler got those last 5 outs in just 11 pitches. Misses up, and it's 1-1. So it's East against Central, and the same in New York. Mets and Pirates are meeting. And a tight one there in the 8th, 1-1, Pirates and Mets. The Mets open play with a healthy 4.5-game lead in the East. Jason Worth's proclamation last week that the Nationals were still the team to beat in the National League. And that National League East ringing a bit hollow right now because the Nationals are 4.5 back.
Well, the Mets have a lot of things clicking right now. They beat Colorado last night, scored 12 runs.
Ichiro over. And he makes the catch.
Granderson, Kelly Johnson, Lagares hit home runs. Syndergaard pitched 7 innings. So they're working on all cylinders. I think Bartolo Colon threw the ball pretty well tonight. 7 innings, giving up just 1 run.
1-1. Pirates and Mets top 8. The Braves are at home against a hot Diamondback team. And Atlanta has a 3-0 lead in the bottom of the 5th. Phillies are where the Marlins will be in a few days. Milwaukee leads 3-0.
Good curveball from Tom Kohler. Great pitch, first pitch. Not many hitters are going to jump on that.
Randall Grichuk, who singled to right in the 2nd. Grichuk with that bat almost parallel to the ground to set and start his at bat. It almost looks like it's from the arch.
I think Craig was trying to talk Carl Pavano into going up the arch tomorrow.
With Craig or by himself?
By himself.
No, I think both of us should go. I just want to see how Carl has to bend down in that little.
Not in the same little cart, are you?
Huh?
You're both not going in the same little cart.
I think the cart. I haven't been up there, but someone around here will. I think the cart fits 4 or 6. Is that true? 5. So, but Carl takes up about 2 himself, and it's very narrow. It would be a funny piece. I will say. Apparently, you need to get a hold of the people well in advance to try and get up there, or wait on a very long line.
It's a Saturday, so I would expect the line will be rather large. Check swing, he went, and Tom Kohler is really roaring right now. Through 4 scoreless. Good MLB whip around. Fox Sports 1 highlights, instant analysis, live look-ins, cool music. MLB whip around airs weeknights 7 Eastern on Fox Sports 1 and streams live on Fox Sports Go. Both pitchers have been over the last 2 innings kind of taking their time to get out there and make sure they're good and loose, because this game has been going so quickly. Both pitchers, Garcia and Tom Kohler, have been getting outs with an economy of pitches. Cole Gillespie for Miami, JT Realmuto, and Ichiro.
Yeah, they may be taking their time getting out there. But Kohler's thrown 61 pitches, and Garcia's thrown 62.
Cole Gillespie bounced to short. Miami got 2 hits last inning in the 4th. One problem, though, D. Gordon's leadoff single, he was picked off. South Florida Honda dealers will get you ready for tomorrow night. Marlins and Cardinals. Brad Hand, John Lackey, Craig and Carl, if they get out of the inclinator and out of the arch, will be hosting the show. If that doesn't work, Tommy and I will be on. For what will be a 6:30 start for Marlins Live. And at 6 o'clock, Marlins Clubhouse, hosted by Preston Wilson. If you missed the My Journey with JT Realmuto, which we had on right before first pitch, that'll be tomorrow as well. Garcia fields his position quite well, and he's had a lot of action.
That was a terrific piece, by the way. It just allowed you to learn a little bit more about JT Realmuto. Good job by Garcia. Takes his time. Once he got off the mound and got to this ball, he didn't rush it. Took his time, straightened up, made a strong throw.
Third comebacker that he's had in the ball game. And here is Realmuto. There's some great football footage. We heard all about Realmuto as a quarterback. The Marlins scouts that liked him and saw him also saw him play football.
And there was some footage of that.
Yes, a state champion at the highest level in Oklahoma. Apparently, in the state championship game, there was a last-second drive, and Realmuto, as the quarterback, led his team down the field and to that state championship.
Think about it, too. Pretty good high school football in the state of Oklahoma.
Ball and a strike. That one fouled at the plate. Craig?
Yeah, Rich, championships seem to follow JT Realmuto. Won 2 as the baseball player. They're playing shortstop, little pitcher, and a little catcher. Then the quarterback for this Carl Albert High School team in Oklahoma. And as you said, they won the coveted, I think it was 5 or 6A state championship. Quite an athlete. And the other day, he had 40 carries in that game. The other day in the clubhouse, he was throwing a football, and I'm telling you, a tight spiral across the Marlins clubhouse. His receiver was big Justin Bohr. Could be a good tight end out of the backfield.
Yeah, Bohr would look like that tight end from Baylor, the guy that's like 3 bills.
He was throwing some bullets. You had to watch him walking around because they were on opposite sides. Make sure you didn't take a good spiral.
2-2 to Realmuto. And Garcia, good tight spiral there on the breaking ball. And he has 2 outs here in the 5th.
The impressive thing about Realmuto is that wherever he's gone, championships seem to follow. The high school football game, when he was at Greensboro, when he was in Jacksonville. So he brings that to the table.
Here's Ichiro. Only saw a couple pitches in the 3rd and tapped back to the mound. The unofficial all-time hit list of professional hits in terms of Japan and Major League Baseball. Ichiro is 1 shy of officially tying Ty Cobb. There you go, Ichiro, 4,190. Of course, Pete Rose sits on top of that list. We know that Ichiro has such great respect for baseball history. We found out that he's a guy that has been to the Hall of Fame numerous times without fanfare and spent a lot of hours in those halls and down below looking at artifacts, soaking it all in. And he drives it into left field. That's a base hit. Ichiro around first. And he's tied with Ty Cobb. 4,192 hits for Ichiro.
Even a little bit of applause here from the fans in St. Louis. They realize that they're watching a future Hall of Famer, and they don't know the number of hits. Boy, out of all those hits, a lot of them have been just like that.
Whenever Ichiro passes somebody or ties somebody of note, I remember when it was Babe Ruth, people would immediately go to him and, did you know that you're tied with Babe Ruth? Did you know that you're tied with Ty Cobb? And Ichiro immediately would say, look, those guys were great players. They did it in the major leagues. They're different players than I was. But you have to feel that privately, that's a really special moment for him. He may not show it on the outside. He may not beat his chest like Pete Rose did or Ricky Henderson did.
He may not say I'm the greatest the way Ricky did.
Or talk about himself in the third person. That one is off of Garcia, and it trickles out to second. Wong gets the out. The Marlins have managed 3 singles, and that's it against Jaime Garcia. You can renew your season tickets, your chance to win a trip to the 2016 All-Star Game in San Diego, along with other incredible prizes and experiences that are given away daily. Enjoy maximum savings, rewards, and flexible payment options. Renew by phone at 1-877-MARLINS at marlins.com or at an upcoming home game. Busch Stadium. This is Busch the third. I believe Busch 1 was actually Sportsman Park, and then when Augie Busch bought the team, he turned that into Busch 1. Busch 2 was the cookie cutter AstroTurf, home of the football and baseball Cardinals. And then this new ballpark built right next to Busch 2. before they dismantled that old park. Here is Stephen Piscotty.
Be it in South Florida or St. Louis, it's never been an easy matchup for the Marlins. The Marlins 70-104 lifetime against the Cardinals.
Ball and a strike. Tom Kohler has ripped through the Cardinals after giving up the single to Randall Grichuk back in the second. It's the only hit for St. Louis. And Piscotty tied up on a breaking ball.
Throwing a lot of those tonight, and they've been very good. But really with Tom Kohler and most pitchers, it starts with his fastball, how he works that. And he's worked that in and out. Little slider that time.
Ichiro makes a catch.
Hey, by the way, Rich, because I know every once in a while he checks in on us and watches the Marlins play. How about a happy birthday to Juan Pierre? Celebrating birthday number 38. And by the way, a week from Sunday, when the Marlins are at home playing the Phillies, it'll be Dontrelle Willis, Juan Pierre Day. There'll be T-shirts representing those two guys.
Well, they'd be throwback T-shirts, because remember on Fridays when those two guys were together, every Friday at home was Throwback Friday, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You'd see Dontrelle sporting like a Vita Blue jersey coming in.
We saw Juan Pierre the other day. He was out at the ballpark. Always likes to connect with D. Gordon.
Maybe D. Gordon will wear Juan Pierre's uniform like he did in spring training. That one into the seats and out of play. One of the things that I've taken from this season, and it's been a painful one for the Marlins certainly, is the absolute joy in which D. Gordon plays the game. Liner to center. It's hit well. Gillespie back, and it's off the top of the wall. Plays it well. Reynolds around first. The throwing lead to second. And he's in there with a double. Second hit for the Cardinals.
Well, it kind of gives you an indication of the kind of power, and we were talking about it earlier, that Mark Reynolds has. This ball jumps off his bat directly over the head. Gillespie's not going to make the play, but look what he does. He pulls up. He knows he's not going to catch it, so he pulls up just before he gets to the warning track right there. Plays the carom, one hop, and got the ball back in a hurry.
Now Garcia, who flied to left. Second Cardinal in scoring position. A swing and a miss. You know what I mean about watching D. Gordon? I mean, sometimes you learn about guys in a situation like this where their team is buried in the standings and struggling for wins.
Sometimes you learn more in this type of situation.
Watching D. Gordon day in and day out. Diving stop. There's Gordon on cue, on his feet, and he throws out Garcia. He plays with a high energy, high intensity, and with a real love for the sport.
Shaded up the middle with the pitcher up to bat. You don't expect him to pull it. Garcia crosses him up, and D. Gordon reacts.
Well, here is Carpenter now. Matt Carpenter, 358 with runners in scoring position. And he's got Reynolds at third, but there's two outs. Has lined out, struck out, bunts, gorgeous. He bunted for a hit last night. And for whatever reason, the Marlins weren't looking for it.
The bunt he dropped down last night was against a pretty good shift. The Marlins aren't shifting a lot, but you don't really think he's going to bunt, and you saw where Prado was. Carpenter obviously saw where he was. Just had to get the ball down on the ground. Not only does he get a run in, he gets himself a base hit.
And St. Louis has a 1-0 lead.
Here's an example of so many times you'll see a hitter up there, man on third. Hitter will swing away at this, swing away at that. He had an idea. He saw where the infield was. He felt confident in just dropping down a bunt up that third base side. Some would say, well, that's Cardinal baseball. No, it's not. It's smart baseball. It's good baseball. Anybody can do it.
Well, and the frustrating thing is he did it last night against the Pirates. That helped get the Cardinals back into that game. It was 7-0. They rallied to make it 7-5 before Pittsburgh pulled away. Here's Colton Wong, who was lined out and popped out. Echeverria has it, flips. Whoa! Gordon gets to the bag. Off balance, an awkward throw, but Echeverria got it there. Gordon arrived just in time. Terrific play. Echeverria's made a couple of them tonight. But the Cardinals are on the board. Terrific stuff from Echeverria. Exclusive loyalty program of Marlin fans. To learn more, log in, go to marlins.com/fishfamily. Bonus code tonight is curveball. That is the official jacket of the Fish family. I think the old Orange Bowl representatives used to wear those around.
All right, so he gave in. He's drinking a Bud Light.
Tom Kohler leads it off. Javi Garcia has been sharp. Miami has 3 hits. Kohler, D. Gordon, Martin Prado. End of the bat, little squirter up the first base line. Reynolds. And there's an out. Now the Cardinals don't have a lot of their big thunder. Matt Holliday, Matt Adams out. They don't have one of their table setters in John Jay. And as you pointed out, talking early in the telecast about, you know, the Cardinal way, if you want to simplify it, it's just playing the game hard and taking advantage of little things. There's a couple of little things that have popped up that the difference in this ball game. The bunt by Matt Carpenter with 2 outs, play that he pulled off last night, and then D. Gordon getting picked off first base after a leadoff hit. That was in the 4th. That certainly helped Garcia out. Really slowed down the inning because Prado singled right after him, but the Marlins didn't score in the inning.
When you play any team, you have to try to minimize mistakes. Can't help the physical errors. Those are going to happen.
Reynolds beats Gordon to the bag.
But when you play the Cardinals, you really have to try to minimize those, because more often than not, they're not going to make it.
Marlins Fan Express is back, ready to bring you straight to the ballpark. Book this luxury motor coach for your group. 305-480-2523 or email groups@marlins.com. Martin Prado has flied out and singled. And Garcia, after getting a run, gets a 1-2-3 6th. Jaime Garcia and the Cardinals. A 1-0 lead in St. Louis. Right now, it's a giant game of Gatorade Cup Jenga. Oh, that's not right. That's not right. John Jay. Here tonight in St. Louis. Good pitching tonight. Tom Kohler and Jaime Garcia. Cardinals have a 1-0 lead. Johnny Peralta, Jason Hayward, Yadier Molina. Kohler tonight, 5 innings, 3 hits, a run, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. Gordon waits for it, gathers it in, and gets the out. John Jay is trying to say, I'm innocent. I would never do it. And Martinez is not happy.
Be careful now. Remember the New York Jets clubhouse.
Yeah, you're next.
You don't want anything like that to happen.
You want some of this? You want some of this? It was his masterpiece.
Yeah.
Here's Hayward. And Kohler, whose breaking ball has been sharp all night long, gets a strike.
Boy, the Red Sox, Rich, brought out the lumber after their day off, traveling home, taking on Seattle. 13 runs, 18 hits so far against the Mariners.
They got tired of watching the Marlins score all those runs.
Yeah, they did.
On Wednesday.
Jackie Bradley, 3 hits. Sandoval, 3 hits, 3 RBIs.
What was your takeaway from the Red Sox?
You know, there's some pieces there. You and I talked about the young players, and I'm looking in their box score. Travis Shaw is having a good night tonight. So, and Bradley and Betts, they have some, but they also have some older pieces that are going to be around because of salary.
Yeah, another 4 years, right? Sandoval and Hanley.
And then it goes to pitching, bottom line.
Yeah, a guy like Bradley especially, you saw how exciting he is in the outfield and on the bases. If he can hit like he's done in the minor leagues, then they'll really have something. Xander Bogaerts, really nice player. Kohler has 2 quick outs and a quick strike on Molina, who's 0 for 2. Jam shot. Gordon, tricky hop, has to go get it and get the out. Nicely done. Tom Kohler, 1, 2, 3. Carlos Martinez still not happy. Don't mess with the pyramid. Help from fellow starters. Adam Wainwright, Michael Walker. They're rebuilding the pyramid. John Jay was fingered, but actually we believe is Matt Adams that actually disrupted the pyramid. MLB.com ballpark app, perfect complement. Your visit to Marlins Park or any Major League Park. Maps, menus, food in your seats, all of that. Check in with the ballpark app and receive special ballpark offers and gifts. Get MLB.com ballpark app today. It's a little note there, Tommy, to wait for the music to just bring it right in. There's your pitcher comparison. Both guys have been splendid tonight.
They sure have. There's no question about that. Pitches for both. Garcia's gotten a lot of 1 and 2 pitch outs. Tom Kohler's been tremendous. By the way, in those shots we saw in the Cardinal dugout with Carlos Martinez, Adam Wainwright's there. He's a big influence, even though he's on the disabled list. When he comes to the ballpark, just talking to the young pitchers, the Michael Wacha, Martinez, has been a huge influence on them.
Derek Dietrich has struck out twice. Garcia has 5 strikeouts in his 6 innings. There's your Marlins box score. Just 3 singles: Gordon, Prado, and Ichiro.
We talked about Garcia in years in which he was healthy. 2010, he was a 13-game winner. 2011, a 13-game winner.
Two and 2. I don't think he's going to let anybody sit near it now that it's rebuilt.
I wonder if there's a method as to when he puts another cup on.
Dietrich pops it up. Carpenter there to get it. We check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Rich, what's in a number? Lots of prominent players over the years have left the Marlins for one team only to return. Problem is sometimes that number is no longer around. Like last year, Casey McGee wore number 9. Now in his second stint with the Fish, he's back, but number 9 is taken by D. Gordon. So he's wearing number 5. But there's a list of some guys, including one guy in particular, wore 3 numbers. Jeff Conine first came here with number 19 when he started his career, but when he came back, Mike Lowell had that number. So he turned to number 18. Paul LaDuca had 2 stints with the Fish as number 14 and 16. Brad Penny's the only guy we found that had 3 numbers, 28, 31, and 33. Now Leiter wore 25 for the World Champs in '97, but he was number 22 when he pitched for Jack McKeon in 2005.
Huh. And remember, that number 5 originally was retired in Marlins history. Carl Barger, one of the original owners. It was unretired for Logan Morrison. And McGee back into center field. A line drive hit. So Casey McGee has Miami's 4th hit.
Base hit for number 5, Casey McGee.
Cole Gillespie now. Boy, the pitch counts and the outs have been impressive for both of these guys. Tom Kohler's pitch total was ahead of Garcia's, but then Kohler went through 2 really quick innings. And as it sits now, this is pitch number 72 for Garcia. Kohler sits at 63. If it were 1-0 the other way, then Kohler, certainly with the Marlins down a run, is a candidate to get pinch hit for, depending on what happens later in this inning or in the 8th. Last 10 days, Cole Gillespie has really had a nice run. A 5-game hit streak, 10 hits in those 5 games.
14th start for Gillespie in center field. He started 10 games in right field.
Into right, that's going to fall for a hit. Hayward comes on and gets it. So a McGee single, a Gillespie single, and here's Real Muto, and the Marlins have their first real threat with 2 on here in the 7th.
Pretty good job by Casey McGee at first base. He knew exactly where Hayward was playing. Watch Casey. A couple steps in, he realizes even though Hayward put the glove up, a little decoy, he did not fool Casey McGee. There it is. He looks. Okay, you're not going to catch that.
Oh for 2 is Real Muto. Pair of strikeouts. Into the bat. Garcia spins, throws out there, and that's it. Nice slide by Gillespie. And it's down to Ichiro now with 2 outs and runners at the corners.
Boy, he's really had JT Real Muto, I don't want to say tied up. He just had him out in front fooled tonight. A couple of strikeouts, a little tapper off the end of the bat. A lot of catchers running. That's a double play.
Ichiro line to single the left and bounced out. He's got that right side open, and we've seen Ichiro in this spot this year really try to spin on a ball and pull it through that hole.
A couple of times we've seen him do it against left-handed pitching too.
That one in. Nice month of August. Brian Morris. One and 2. Jaime Garcia. Now 5 hits, 5 strikeouts. He hasn't walked anybody.
Rich, think about this. You rarely see Ichiro get jammed.
Little tapper out towards second. And Wong gets the out. Miami leads 2. 7th inning stretch in St. Louis. A tight one. It's 1-0 Cardinals. all lit up. Neither pitcher has been lit up, so to speak. Both have been outstanding. Tom Kohler for Miami, Jaime Garcia for St. Louis. Kohler, 6 innings, 3 hits, a run, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. Kohler's actually thrown 82 pitches. My box score was frozen. It refreshed, and he's got 82. Garcia at 79 pitches. Garcia struck out 5, has not given up a run, and he's allowed 5 hits. See, Kohler has really cut down on the pitches as he's gone along. Randall Grichuk, Stephen Piscotty, and Mark Reynolds. And here is Grichuk. Cardinals always do such a great job of drafting and developing talent. This is a guy they did not draft. He came over in the David Freese trade. And he wasn't the headliner. Peter Borges coming over was kind of the top guy going from the Angels to the Cardinals. Grichuk was a name not many had heard of, a first-round pick in 2009. Spent 6 years in the minor leagues.
How about that year in 09? The Angels had 2 first-round picks. Grichuk was picked ahead of Trout.
You don't see too many guys drop the bat like that. And Grichuk drills it into right center. It goes to the wall. Gillespie has it. And the Cardinals have a leadoff double. Grichuk is 2 for 3.
Well, we talked earlier about the extra base hits. 42 extra base hits now for Grichuk. He was tied amongst Major League rookies in that department. He's got that compact swing. 14 homers, 21 doubles, 7 triples. First time in all the innings that the Cardinals have their leadoff man on. So Tom Kohler's got his work cut out for him here.
Piscotty to the right side. D. Gordon sliding stop and on his feet throws him out. Piscotty moves the runner. Gordon prevents a run. And now Kohler goes after Mark Reynolds. Grichuk at third.
And you saw the approach of Piscotty. What's he trying to do? Staying back, trying to hit the ball the other way to move Grichuk over to third, and he accomplished it, and he almost got a base hit. Terrific play by D. Gordon.
D. Gordon motioning into Miami's dugout to see if they want him to shift with the infield in. Marlins play pretty much straight up and in, and Reynolds drives it to left. St. Louis has a 2-0 lead.
You know, it's one thing to say, well, if he doesn't move the runner over and he's at third, he still scores on the base hit, but that's not the case. With the infield in and a runner at third, there are a whole lot of more ways to get a base hit. There's a lot more room. Plus, psychologically for a hitter, in Reynolds' case, when he's up there with the infield in, it just looks better.
It changes the approach of the pitcher. It changes the approach of the hitter. And now Garcia settles in, and he'll hit with Reynolds at first. Reynolds runs, pitches up, throw down to second. They got him. Echeverria on the rundown will tag out Mark Reynolds. Nicely executed by everyone for the Marlins, from Real Muto to Echeverria.
Well, there was either a missed sign, and probably aren't too many of those with St. Louis, or the pitch was just so bad and he pulls back. I don't know if it was a hit and run, a bunt and run, But there's no way Reynolds is taking off in a straight steal. When a Cardinal does that, if there's a mistake,
there's a hush around the crowd.
They have to go back and they have to reread longtime Cardinal coach George Kissel's book on the Cardinal way of baseball.
McGee to the bag. St. Louis adds a run. The double by Gritchett. The single by Reynolds. 2-0 St. Louis.
I think he's one of the old guys.
Marlins Day brought to you by Dodge. Submit your best vintage photo of yourself using the hashtag #FlashbackMarlins. The blue ribbon panel will select the best photo and it will make it on the post-game show. Maybe you can build your own little pyramid using red Solo cups. Well, tonight here in St. Louis, the pitchers have dominated this ball game. The Marlins have been shut out so far by Jaime Garcia, and Tom Kohler has gone 7 innings, given up just the 2 runs on just 5 hits.
Yeah, it has been a night of starting pitching. Tom Kohler, tremendous. He's going to be lifted after Echeverria for a pinch hitter, but again, a 6+ inning effort, 7 innings from TK tonight.
And the Cardinal bullpen starts to stir. Echeverria drops it down, gorgeous bunt, and he's going to beat it. You can see Reynolds pleading with Garcia not to throw it at first base. He felt Echeverria was going to beat it, and he did.
I think when you're a guy like Garcia, we've seen him make some good defensive plays, so you think you can make every play, but yeah, there was no play there. And the happiest guy in the Marlin dugout is Brett Butler. He always gets a glance from Echeverria after a bunt base hit like that, and they both kind of smile toward each other.
So Tom Kohler leaves. Here is Rojas, and Miguel Rojas with Echeverria, the runner, at first. So Miami actually is out hitting the Cardinals. They've got 6 of them. Rojas taps one towards Peralta. Out there, quick turn, out there. Peralta to Wong to Reynolds.
Beautiful turn by the Cardinal double play combo. Peralta knows he has to get this to Wong quickly. Wong, even though the throw was a little low, knew he had to unload with something on the throw to complete the double play. Good play all around. Got a nice stretch from Reynolds, too.
And here is Garcia, 81 pitches in, and he's got 2 outs in the 8th. Look at the pitches by inning. Look at the short pitch innings. 10 in the 2nd, 7 in the 3rd, 10 in the 4th, 6 in the 6th. He's got 2 outs and just the 4 pitches here, and a breaking ball misses in. He's got 15 ground ball outs. Gordon. Wong has it. Little flip. And Jaime Garcia, a 5-pitch inning. And a 2-0 Cardinal lead. On Miami's bench, MLB.TV. As you head down the stretch in Major League Baseball, you want to have MLB.TV. All the cool stuff, live look-ins, real-time highlights, pitch tracking widgets. Visit MLB.TV for details. Mike Dunn out of Miami's pen. Tom Kohler was terrific tonight. Kohler 7 innings. 5 hits. He gave up the 2 runs, a walk and 2 strikeouts. The problem is Jaime Garcia has been even better. 8 innings for Garcia, no runs, 6 hits, no walks, 5 strikeouts.
Just 84 pitches for Garcia so far. So now it's up to Mike Dunn to keep it a 2-0 game. He gets the top of the order.
Matt Carpenter, Colton Wong, and Johnny Peralta. Lots of stuff happening tonight in baseball. The Pirates have a run in the top of the 10th, and they lead the Mets in New York 2-1. The Pirates won here last night 10-5, even though the Cardinals won that series 2 of 3. And the Pirates have 2 hot teams to tend to in that Central. Not only these Cardinals, but the Cubs, who won again today. 6-5. They beat the White Sox. Was it U.S. Cellular or the new Comiskey? They did not call this the new Bush, though, or Bush the Third.
That might have been a little confusing. Cardinals still have a couple more series left with the Pirates too. One here and one in Pittsburgh. He got a couple of lefties at the top of the order in Carpenter and Wong. Kind of a moral victory for Pittsburgh. I think it was their first win this year in St. Louis. Cardinals had really handled them here.
Our Cardinals have handled everybody.
Well, yeah.
42-17 in this ballpark. Just unbelievable, especially with the amount of firepower they've lost. Carpenter deep. Gillespie gone.
About Matt Carpenter, who has a 10-game hitting streak, but now 5 home runs over that 10 game, 18 home runs on the year. He's made a little adjustment in his approach, and it has produced some power. Last year, Carpenter just 8 home runs in 158 games.
You can see Martinez at the end of the line. That's what he was building the pyramid for. He'd been waiting for that all night. Fastball misses down low.
Fastball pretty much middle of the plate.
Colton Wong. McGee has it and gets the out. Our Geico MLB moment, 71. Cardinals beat the Pirates. Bob Gibson no-hits the Pirates at Three Rivers Stadium. He walked 3, struck out 10.
Probably about a 2-hour or less game.
.419 feet. Carpenter got the car wash at the very end of the line there. Here is Peralta, and he fouls one back. Marlins run into a hot Cardinal team this weekend, and the Cardinals seemingly every night run out a quality arm. John Lackey has an ERA of 2.91. He starts tomorrow night. Brad Hand goes for the Marlins. And then Martinez, who's been featured tonight with his dugout antics, an all-star this year. He's 12-4 with a 2.62 earned run average. David Phelps had start on Sunday afternoon.
The last time John Lackey faced the Marlins, he pitched against Dontrell Willis in 2005. Lackey was with the Angels at the time.
Count stays at 2-2. Well, the Pirates added an extra run and they lead the Mets 3-1 going to the bottom of the 10th. That Boston scores 14-1 in the 8th after the Marlins beat the Red Sox on Wednesday, scoring 14 runs. Boston's put up 14 on Seattle.
19 hits for the Red Sox.
And another hit for the Cardinals. Ichiro has to come and get it. Peralta with a double. There's still only one out in the inning. Marlins Live presented by Checkers. Live on the field, Craig Minervini and Carl Pavano. Ichiro with a historic hit tonight.
I like that for the tie.
He is even with Ty Cobb in number of hits, combining his Japanese numbers and Major League numbers. I think the number that Ichiro is focused on right now isn't that for Ty Cobb or even Pete Rose further on. It's 3,000, because now he's at 2,913. And I think Tommy is closer than you and I thought he would be at this point of the season.
With the amount of time he's had as far as playing time. He started a lot of games early in the year, had a lot of pinch hit appearances. And you were talking about it earlier, Rich, and I think it's really true. Ellington getting ready. Coming over from Japan, having had the career that he had in Japan, to come over and establish himself as the kind of player he's been over here, just incredible.
Now you can say, oh, well, you know, he got that number of hits over in Japan. It wasn't a lot of hits. Remember, he only played 9 seasons over there. Just 1,278 hits. They don't play 162 games over there. It's in the low 140s. And so in those 9 seasons, he didn't have the same opportunities. And, of course, remember, his first season here, he was the MVP of the American League. Won a batting title. And then would be an all-star for 10 consecutive seasons. Three and 1 to Jason Hayward. Mike Dunn, a bumpy ride here in the 8th. Hayward fouls it back.
When Mike Dunn comes in to games, and you can always tell, and he immediately gets ahead. Sometimes it'll be with that slider for a first pitch strike. When he comes in and does that, that's when he has success. When he falls behind, that's when he gets in trouble.
Echeverria spears that liner. That's the third really nice play that Echeverria's made tonight.
Boy, Echeverria's been all over the place tonight. He's made every play. He's gone to his left. He's gone to his right. He went deep into left field. Showing a lot of range tonight.
Yadier Molina now, with Peralta still at second. Well, the Yankees held on and beat the Blue Jays 4-3. Yankees got 4 runs in the 8th and win it 4-3.
It's a big win for the Yankees. They had a big 3-run homer from Carlos Beltran. Blue Jays had a 3-1 lead.
That one fouled off.
And it was a David Price start for Toronto as well.
Here in St. Louis, big crowd, over 40,000, 42,000, and 25. Every home game this season has been over 40,000. D. Gordon, a backhand. The middle infield has sparkled for Miami tonight, but the Marlins head to the 9th in St. Louis, down 3-0. To find a participating dealer, go to FloridaCubotaDealers.com. On a beautiful night in St. Louis, not too hot. It's been all Cardinals and all Jaime Garcia. A 6-hit shutout. This ballgame started at 7:15 local time, so this is 2 hours and 10 minutes in. The Redbirds watching the clock, as they always do. And so the Marlins go after Garcia. There's action in the Cardinal bullpen, so you'd expect Mike Matheny might have a quick hook if Garcia gets in any trouble here in the ninth. Martin Prado takes a strike. Trevor Rosenthal in the Cardinal pen.
He's their main guy, 35 saves for Rosenthal.
So Garcia's looking for a complete game. You see his pitch count is at 86. The fewest pitches in a complete game win this season. Mark Burley, 93. David Price, 93.
And the last complete game for Jaime Garcia was in 2011. Of course, he's had a lot of time on the disabled list since then, and he's only thrown 3 complete games in his career. The Marlins also trying to avoid being shut out for the 10th time this year.
Down goes Prado. Well, not only has Garcia not walked anybody, he hasn't had a 3-ball count on anybody.
Boy, see the movement on that last pitch to get Prado reaching. He's done that all night. Jaime Garcia.
Really amazing. And here is Dietrich. It's ironic, certainly, for Garcia, who over the last 3 seasons, 2012, 13, and 14, shoulder, nerve issues, has been in and out of the rotation, mostly out. Gets to this year, gets healthy, and hurts himself swinging at a pitch the last time he faced the Marlins. That was June 24th.
And the guy we talked about earlier in 09 had Tommy John surgery. So he's had a little bit of everything.
But you know what? This is start number 11. His ERA is 1.57. Dietrich gets hit and trots down to first.
Dietrich hit for the 9th time this year. But that's a start. You see that breaking ball floating up there. He just kind of turns like he took it on that bicep above the padding on the elbow.
Casey McGee. McGee has one of the 6 hits, a line drive single in the 7th. And so now with the count at 2-0, 1 out, Rosenthal is ready in the bullpen. (3-0). How much rope will Mike Matheny give his lefty?
Maybe not a lot.
Derek Lilliquist, the pitching coach, who I don't think gets enough credit for taking over for the legendary Dave Duncan. Certainly Matheny had big shoes to fill for Tony La Russa, but Lilliquist had giant shoes to fill with Duncan.
You could say the same for Derek Lilliquist. I think he makes his home up in Vero Beach.
And McGee walks. That is going to bring the tying run to the plate, Cole Gillespie, and it's going to bring Mike Matheny out of the Cardinal dugout. And it's also going to bring 42,000 to their feet. Walking Casey McGee. Cole Gillespie comes to the plate, and it's hard throwing Trevor Rosenthal, who is waiting for him. Your save leaders in the National League, Mark Melancon and Rosenthal at 35 apiece.
One of those saves, yeah, one of those against the Marlins in Miami in that 3-game series.
And Gillespie gets a piece of a 95-mile-an-hour pitch.
And this is quite a different look than the look the hitters have seen from Jaime Garcia.
Ball and a strike. Gillespie has been one of Miami's best hitters over the last week. A 6-game hit streak, 1 for 3 tonight. Got JT Realmuto on deck. You saw Mark Melancon's name there with Rosenthal. Melanson just picked up his 36th save moments ago. The Mets got a run in the bottom of the 10th, but that's it. Pittsburgh 3-2 beats the Mets. The Nationals tonight are in San Francisco. Both teams have a run that's bottom first. Into right field. That's a base hit. Dietrich to third. He'll be held there. Ball is dropped by Hayward, and Dietrich's going to score. And Cole Gillespie continues a really nice run. singling to right against one of the best closers in the National League. And the Marlins now have the tying run at first base. It's 3-1.
Boy, that's just a great AB. He started to catch up with some of those fastballs. This is going to be an error charged to Hayward because Dietrich had stopped at third. And boy, to his credit, he stops, but he picks up the ball and then is able to continue on and score.
A strike to Real Muto. Real Muto 0 for 3. A pair of strikeouts, but he had company against Garcia, who was tough on everybody. The run that scores right now, not an earned run, but it can become an earned run depending on what happens the rest of this inning. It's charged to Garcia. Real Muto off his foot. It's a foul ball. After 8 innings with a lead, the Cardinals are 63-0. Little pop up, and it ends up in the seats. Muto trying to hang in there. And you've got Ichiro on deck. McGee the runner at second. Gillespie's at first. And Real Muto fouls it back. Rosenthal, there's not a lot of mystery, is there?
You know, he gave a little off-speed look to Real Muto on the pitch before, and then came back with 97 on the fastball.
A 25-year-old out of Lee's Summit, Missouri. He's been really, really good in the postseason. His career postseason ERA is 0.75, and that's with a healthy 19 appearances. Checkers brings you Marlins Live after the game. Carl Pavano joins Craig Minervini on the field for our live post-game presentation. Marlins trying to come back against Trevor Rosenthal in St. Louis in the ninth. And to left, Piscotty is there, and he makes the catch. Well, it's down to Ichiro. You would think Rosenthal would just try to overpower him with that 98-mile-an-hour fastball. That last pitch that Real Muto hit, 88 miles an hour.
We've seen Ichiro cheat and turn on a hard fastball. I like that.
And he pops it up. Carpenter calls. Carpenter has it, and the Cardinals win it. Trevor Rosenthal shuts the door for Jaime Garcia. Miami gets an unearned run here in the ninth. 3-1. St. Louis beats the Marlins. Miami's 3-game win streak is over. The Cardinals continue to roll a Major League best 74-41.